Have you ever wondered why some scriptures remain sealed, their pages shrouded in shadow, their wisdom whispered only behind closed doors? Imagine holding in your hands a manuscript so potent that empires trembled at its revelation, a text promising the keys to direct reality, to bend energy itself at your will. This is not mere fantasy. It is the essence of the forbidden book that religions have long sought to conceal. Tonight, we embark on a journey beyond the boundaries of conventional faith and dogma. We will step into the hidden corridors of esoteric knowledge, where power and mystery entwine. In our hands lies the promise of an ancient art, a craft of energy manipulation whispered by the sages of Atlantis, inscribed by alchemists in mirrored vaults, and guarded by secret orders from Alexandria to Kyoto. What if I told you that you too can tap into that primal force, to reshape your reality, accelerate your spiritual evolution, and rewrite the narratives that bind you? But before we unwrap these secrets, let me reveal why this knowledge was buried. Centuries ago, when the mighty councils of orthodoxy discovered that such teachings could shatter their control, they codified silence. They rebranded power as heresy, wisdom as witchcraft, and locked away the most transcendent scrolls in vaults where no light could penetrate. And yet, whispers persisted, in hidden monasteries, among wandering mystics, in coded graffiti along forgotten temple walls. In this video, you will uncover the shocking origins of the Forbidden Book, traced through ruined civilizations and forgotten libraries. The philosophical core that underpins the manipulation of energy, from the Tao's ebb and flow to the Hermetic, as above, so below. Mind-bending principles distilled into accessible concepts, leaving you thirsting for more. Practical gateways, exercises and rituals that bridge the metaphysical with your daily life. Prepare to challenge what you believe possible. The veil is thin, the boundaries porous, and tonight, we pull back the curtain. Stay with me, as each revelation ignites a spark of understanding. By the end of our journey, you will glimpse the blueprint of reality itself, and perhaps, begin to wield its creative pulse in your own hands. There are whispers of a book so ancient, so potent, that even the flames of history could not wholly consume it. Not a single volume, but a collective codex of teachings, fractured, scattered across civilizations, veiled in riddles, hidden beneath allegory and symbol. From the temple scrolls of Qumran to the emerald glyphs of Thoth, from the Vedic hymns sung by firelight to the mystic fragments buried beneath the sands of Nag Hammadi, this forbidden book has taken many names, many forms, but its essence remains unchanged. It is a map to the architecture of reality, a manual for mastering the current of life force that animates all things. In ancient Egypt, initiates whispered of the Book of Thoth, said to contain spells that allowed one to speak with the gods and command the elements. It was never meant for common eyes. According to legend, Thoth himself, the god of wisdom and measurement, inscribed it in indelible script and buried it in a secret chamber, guarded by serpents of fire. Those who stumbled upon it without spiritual preparation descended into madness or met untimely deaths. But the guardians of that knowledge, the high priests and temple scribes, kept its secrets alive through sacred rites and oral tradition. These were not mere metaphors, they were encoded instructions for manipulating the invisible forces behind all matter. In the East, similar threads weave through Taoist and Vedic traditions. The Tao Te Ching, often mistaken as poetic wisdom, is a manual of energetic attunement. Its verses point toward a path of effortless alignment with the universal current, what the Chinese call qi, and the Hindus, prana. These were not passive flows, but streams of power that could be directed, concentrated, even weaponized by the initiated. The Upanishads speak of the Atman as the doorway to Brahman, the self as the fractal seed of the entire universe. Once one masters this recognition, the boundaries between mind, matter, and energy dissolve. And then, in the heart of the Greco-Roman world, emerged the Hermetic teachings, texts attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, a syncretic figure merging Thoth and Mercury. His writings, once treasured by alchemists and mystics, speak clearly, that which is above is like that which is below, to accomplish the miracles of the one thing. In this one sentence lies a cosmic law, that reality is holographic, recursive, and malleable. Control the micro, and the macro responds. Shape your inner world, and the outer reflects it back like a mirror of divine intelligence. Yet, with the rise of institutional religions, this knowledge became dangerous. Power, true power, was not to be dispersed among the people. It had to be centralized, protected, or destroyed. The Council of Nicaea canonized certain scriptures and banished others into oblivion. Gnostic Gospels were burned or buried, labeled heretical not because they were false, but because they taught individuals to commune directly with the divine, bypassing priesthoods and temples. Mystical Judaism was repressed under Roman rule, while Sufi texts faced censorship under more dogmatic Islamic dynasties. Across continents, the pattern repeated, sacred knowledge obscured beneath ritual, myth transformed into literalism, inner mastery replaced by external obedience. But esoteric lineages persisted. The Essenes guarded fragments in desert caves. The Cathars preserved hidden wisdom in southern France before they were annihilated. Eastern sages encoded the path into martial arts and yoga. Even in medieval Europe, the alchemists hid their secrets in the guise of metal transmutation, when in truth, they were describing the inner alchemy of spirit and energy. Solve ite coagula, dissolve the false, reconstitute the real. This is the context in which the Forbidden Book exists, not as a single dusty tome, but as a sacred current flowing beneath all spiritual traditions. It teaches that energy is the primary substance of existence, consciousness its architect, and intention the sculptor's hand. And it has always been there, waiting, not to be believed, but to be awakened. Shall we begin unlocking its pages? To understand the Forbidden Book is to first understand its core premise. Reality is not solid, fixed, or separate from you. It is fluid, impressionable, and intimately intertwined with your consciousness. This idea, echoed across Hermetic texts, Vedic scriptures, and even quantum physics, is the cornerstone of ancient esoteric science. Matter is not the foundation of reality, energy is. And behind energy is intent. What appears to be unchangeable, your circumstances, your emotions, the world around you, is in fact a field of vibrating energy shaped by perception, emotion, and belief. Imagine for a moment that your mind is a tuning fork, and the universe is an ocean of frequencies. Your thoughts, feelings, and inner stories act like magnetic codes, drawing in experiences that mirror your inner resonance. The sages of old knew this. That is why they placed so much importance on inner purity, discipline of thought, and the power of symbols. The Forbidden Book, hidden across scrolls, glyphs, and chants, was never just about divine mysteries. It was a manual for creation, a way to intentionally modulate your frequency and harmonize with higher dimensions of existence. The ancients called this power by many names: mana, chi, prana, ruach, odic force. But at its root, it is the same animating current, the breath of life that flows through all things. The difference between the ordinary person and the mystic, the blind follower and the awakened initiate, lies in awareness. Most drift like leaves on the stream, pushed and pulled by emotional tides, external events, and ancestral patterns. But the mystic learns to become the stream, to command the current through will and alignment. This is where the deeper layers of the Forbidden Book come alive. In its unseen pages lies the art of energetic programming, the ability to implant conscious intention into the energetic field. This is not fantasy. It is the same principle that underlies prayer, spell work, mantras, and visualization. The human mind, when focused and emotionally charged, emits a coherent signal that shapes probability. When aligned with higher universal laws, this signal doesn't just influence, it creates. Let's use a metaphor. Imagine reality as a vast holographic garden. Every thought you think is a seed. Every emotion is water. Every word you speak is sunlight or shadow. If you are unconscious of the process, weeds grow: fear, scarcity, confusion. But once you become aware that you are the gardener, everything changes. You begin planting with precision. You speak with intention. You water your vision with feeling. Over time, reality must bend. It has no choice. It is a mirror, not a master. This idea was encoded in the Hermetic axiom, the all is mind. It means that everything you see, touch, feel, every experience, is taking place within a grand mind. And your individual mind, though smaller in scale, is not separate from this vast cosmic intelligence. You are both creator and created, observer and observed. The illusion of separation was placed there to test you, to see if you could awaken and remember who you truly are. And here is the part religions feared most: if every human holds this power, then no intermediary is needed. No priest to bless you. No doctrine to cage you. No institution to grant you access to the divine. You are the temple. You are the sacred flame. And the more you remember this, the less control external systems can wield over you. This, at its core, is why the Forbidden Book was hidden. It reveals that heaven is not a place, but a frequency. That divinity is not above, but within. And that the power to transform reality lies not in bloodline or ritual, but in mastering the subtle language of energy. But we have only scratched the surface. In the next section, we will dive deeper into paradoxes, hidden layers of meaning, and truths so potent they have been guarded for millennia. To truly enter the heart of the Forbidden Book is to accept that truth is not always logical, and power does not obey linear rules. The deeper teachings of ancient mystics are wrapped in paradoxes, symbols, and riddles, not to confuse the seeker, but to protect sacred knowledge from the unready. Truth must be earned, not merely read. The Forbidden Book demands not just curiosity, but transformation. For to wield its secrets is to reshape not only the world, but yourself. At the core of this hidden doctrine is the principle of polarity. Everything that exists has an opposite: light and dark, masculine and feminine, chaos and order, birth and death. Yet the sages taught that opposites are not in conflict, they are complementary forces of one divine spectrum. The Kybalion, a hermetic text steeped in this knowledge, declares, all truths are but half-truths, all paradoxes may be reconciled. In this lies the secret to energetic mastery. You cannot control reality by resisting it, you can only shape it by embracing its duality and rising above it. Take suffering, for example. Most flee from it, resent it, curse it. But the mystic sees pain as a fire that tempers the soul. In the forbidden book, encoded through metaphor and symbol, suffering is not the enemy but the forge of the awakened self. Just as base metals are refined through heat, so too is the human spirit purified through contrast. It is only by facing our inner shadows, not avoiding them, that we unlock the highest frequencies of consciousness. This is inner alchemy, not turning lead into gold, but fear into wisdom, wounds into power, limitation into liberation. This concept also appears in the Kabbalistic tree of life, where the central pillar represents the path of balance, the narrow road between mercy and severity, force and form. It teaches that mastery is not found in extremes, but in harmony. The Zohar, one of the most guarded mystical texts of Judaism, speaks in veiled language of the hidden light that was concealed after creation, too powerful for ordinary souls. This light, they say, can only be accessed by those who cleanse their vessel, who align mind, heart, and will with the divine frequency. But how is this alignment achieved? Here lies one of the forbidden book's greatest secrets. Symbols and language are not just tools of communication, they are instruments of creation. The ancient alphabets, Hebrew, Sanskrit, Egyptian hieroglyphs, were not mere letters. They were energetic blueprints. Each symbol held a frequency, a vibration that could alter consciousness. Mantras in Sanskrit were designed to bypass the thinking mind and activate dormant centers of energy. The Hebrew letters used in Kabbalistic meditation were considered divine codes that could reprogram reality. Even in Christianity, the original Aramaic words of Christ carried a power far beyond modern translations. Ask and it shall be given, when translated from Aramaic, more accurately means, align yourself with the source, and it must manifest. This is why modern spirituality often feels hollow. It has inherited the shell without the spark, the form without the fire. The original teachings were experiential technologies, not just philosophies. They were designed to initiate transformation, not simply offer comfort. When the book speaks of fasting, it does not merely mean abstaining from food, it refers to detaching from lower frequencies. When it speaks of prayer, it is not begging a distant God, but synchronizing your energy with divine will. And when it speaks of resurrection, it is not only about the afterlife, but about rebirth within this life, the awakening of your true self from the tomb of illusion. To master this hidden system is to become a living bridge between the seen and unseen. The mystic becomes a conduit, a conscious node in the web of reality. Thoughts are no longer random, but sculpted. Emotions become tools, not tyrants. Dreams turn into messages. Life stops happening to you and begins flowing through you. But here's the paradox: the more power you awaken, the more humility is required. The Forbidden Book warns that without inner balance, unchecked spiritual power can corrupt the soul, just as fire can either warm a home or burn it to the ground. And so, the ancient initiates passed these teachings through whispers, guarded by symbols, protected by riddles. Not out of elitism, but out of reverence. For knowledge without wisdom is dangerous. And reality, when reshaped by ego, becomes a weapon. But when reshaped by love, it becomes a miracle. Now that we've pierced the heart of these ancient teachings, the question remains, how do we apply them? What can you, the seeker, begin doing right now to align with this sacred current and start transforming your world? Mystical knowledge without application is like lightning in a bottle, brilliant, but impotent. The ancients never intended for wisdom to remain on parchment or locked behind temple doors. The Forbidden Book, in all its fragmented forms, was designed as a living guide, a breathing path to transformation. And though its pages were scattered, the methods remain intact, woven into the practices of sages, shamans, yogis, and mystics across time. Let us begin with the foundation, conscious breath. Every spiritual system begins here, because breath is the visible thread that connects the body to the invisible field of life force. In the Vedic tradition, it is pranayama, the control of breath to expand prana, life energy. In the Hebrew language, the word for breath, ruach, also means spirit. Breath is not just a biological function, it is the gateway to presence, the key to energetic calibration. Start with 5 minutes a day of coherent breathing. Inhale for 5 seconds, exhale for 5 seconds. As simple as it sounds, this rhythm signals safety to your nervous system and begins to stabilize your frequency, making your inner state a fertile ground for transformation. Once breath is anchored, intention becomes your compass. But not just vague desire, focused, emotionally charged, and clear intent. You must speak to the field of reality in its own language, which is not words but vibration. Visualization is one of the most potent tools here, especially when layered with emotion. The subconscious mind, the architect of your reality, responds not to logic, but to impression. Imagine your desire as if it already exists. See it, feel it, embody it. What would you hear, taste, sense in that reality? Anchor it with breath, and infuse it with feeling. This is not delusion, it is energetic instruction. The Forbidden Book also speaks of sacred words and symbols, keys to unlock states of consciousness and direct energy. Try chanting a mantra daily. Choose one that resonates with your goal or spiritual path. Aum for alignment, Shanti for peace, or Ramadasa for healing. Let the vibration shape your body. Speak with awareness. Write affirmations as if they are spells, because in truth, they are. Each word carries a frequency. When spoken with intention, words become codes that instruct the matrix of reality. This is why ancient prayers and sacred chants have survived for millennia. They are frequency technologies disguised as language. Environment, too, is crucial. Energy responds to space. A chaotic, cluttered environment mirrors a chaotic mind. Begin cultivating sacred space, no matter how small, a corner, an altar, a candle, a stone. Let it become your tuning chamber. As within, so without. As without, so within. Another powerful tool from the Forbidden Book is ritual movement, yogic postures, qigong flows, or simple walking meditations. These were never just physical exercises, they were designed to align your body as an antenna, attuning it to the field of life force. Try this. Before a visualization or affirmation session, move your body rhythmically. Stretch, breathe, dance, activate the vessel. Let energy begin to flow. A still body is often a blocked body. Movement awakens the current. But perhaps the most transformative practice is this: awareness in the present moment. The mind races ahead or loops behind, but the power to shift reality exists only now. The mystic knows that miracles happen not through grand gestures, but through presence, intensely conscious, sacred presence. Begin noticing your thoughts without judgment. Watch your emotions as if they are visitors. This is not detachment, it is mastery. The more aware you are of your internal state, the more power you hold to reshape it. This is the inner temple, the true altar where transformation begins. Of course, obstacles will arise. Doubt, fear, fatigue, old programming, they are guardians of the threshold. But remember this: resistance is not a sign of failure, it is the fire that tempers you. When fear surfaces, do not fight it. Acknowledge it. Breathe into it. Ask what it seeks to teach you. Then release it through movement, sound, or written word. The forbidden book does not demand perfection, it requires commitment. Finally, community and silence. Find those who walk the path, who speak the hidden language, who understand that life is more than what it appears. But also, cultivate silence. In stillness, the voice of the book becomes loudest. Not in thunder, but in subtle knowing. You will begin to hear nudges, see signs, dream in symbols. The field will start responding, not always with speed, but always with precision. And so, the path reveals itself, not through doctrine, but through daily devotion. Not through dogma, but through disciplined awareness. You do not need permission. You do not need to be chosen. You already are. You are the scribe and the scroll, the reader and the revealer. The secrets you seek have never truly been hidden. They have only been veiled, guarded by silence, cloaked in symbol, encoded in parable, not to keep you out, but to guide you inward. The forbidden book is not just an ancient manuscript buried beneath stone and secrecy. It is not confined to dusty scrolls or encrypted papyrus. It is not owned by priests or preserved in elite libraries. The forbidden book is you. It is the encoded wisdom of your soul, written in the language of light and energy, waiting to be remembered. Every insight you've absorbed, about energy, about frequency, about the malleable nature of reality, points back to this one sacred truth: you are not separate from the source. You are an extension of it. A vessel of divine intent. A living manuscript of cosmic intelligence. And when you begin to act in alignment with that truth, reality bends. The current shifts. Possibility reconfigures itself around your resonance. You become what the ancient initiates called a magus, one who walks between worlds, shaping the unseen to affect the seen. But this path is not for the curious alone. It is for the devoted. For the brave. For the one willing to shed old skins, outdated beliefs, and programmed identities in order to become the architect of their own destiny. For the one who understands that transformation is not an event, but a practice. That energy is not commanded through control, but through coherence, through harmony between thought, feeling, and will. Religions feared this power not because it was evil, but because it made the middlemen obsolete. It returned the power to the people. If every human being realized they could influence energy, rewrite their story, and commune directly with the source, what need would there be for dogma? For control? For chains disguised as salvation? The forbidden book was hidden not to protect you from evil, but to protect systems from your awakening. Now, you stand at the edge of the veil. You've tasted the nectar of what lies beyond the surface. You've felt the stirrings of the deeper truth. And the choice is now yours, not to believe, but to practice. Not to follow, but to embody. Will you return to the world unchanged, or will you begin the quiet revolution within? Start small. Breathe with intention. Speak with clarity. Feel with depth. Watch your thoughts as seeds and your actions as spells. Use your emotions as guides, not rulers. Enter the silence. Listen for the whisper of the book within. You will find that the universe is not a stranger, but a mirror. It reflects not what you wish, but what you are. And as you shift, it shifts with you. If this message resonates, share it, not to preach, but to awaken. Let others remember what they've forgotten. Let the flame pass hand to hand, heart to heart, soul to soul. For this is how the forbidden book returns, not in the hands of the elite, but in the hearts of the awakened. You are no longer merely a seeker. You are the scribe, the sorcerer, the sacred spark. The book has been opened. The ink is your breath. The next chapter is yours to write. What will you create? If you felt the truth stir within these words, subscribe and journey deeper. This is only the beginning.